Kevin uses one word to describe the first days of protests in downtown Ottawa. Torture. It's such torture. Have you ever been waterboarded? It's like that. It's just like that. How sensitive are people? I mean, don't we want to be sensitive with each other to a certain extent, but then you have to toughen up a little bit. You're never going to get through anything if you want to be sympathized with all the damn time. You don't want people feeling bad for you. But sometimes you do go through traumatic experiences and it affects you negatively. And a lot of times with these types of things, you've never had something like that happen to you, whether it be really bad. A lot of people become traumatized from losing someone they love dearly, and they'll hear a certain song and that triggers them to bring them back to when they were still alive. Something really bad could happen. You could have got jumped by 10 teenagers, and there could be like a t-shirt that you saw right before that, and every time you see the t-shirt, you kind of, it takes you back to that traumatic experience. A lot of these things, I mean, they're not so good. But when it comes to post-traumatic stress disorder, how bad can it get? You get post-traumatic stress disorder from honking, people honking. How is this even possible? I'm just wondering. It's more of a question than anything. I understand that everyone has their own ways of dealing with things, and everyone doesn't necessarily have the same coping mechanism. But when it comes to things that may not be too serious and then you blow them out of proportion. The trucks have left Ottawa, but the phantom honking lingers for many downtown. Oh no, phantom honking. Oh no, not the trucks, not those people in their trucks sitting down and honking their horns. It's about all they were doing, but that's traumatic for me. I'm sensitive. Do you really need to be that sensitive? Some Ottawa residents say they're left haunted by the sound of blaring horns, even though no horns are actually blaring. Oh no. Kevin uses one word to describe the first days of protests in downtown Ottawa. Torture. It's such torture. Have you ever been waterboarded? It's like that. It's just like that. That torture is the reason behind an ongoing class action lawsuit which sought an injunction prohibiting any participants in the protest from using vehicle horns in the vicinity of downtown Ottawa. The trucks have since been removed, with police pushing the majority of protesters outside the downtown core over the Family Day long weekend. Even still, some downtown residents say they're haunted by phantom honking, what sounds like blaring truck horns, but no actual sounds are there. Now, are they really traumatized by this? Surely there may be one or two people, but it does seem like there's a good bit of people who are saying that they're traumatized, and sometimes we use words that we don't mean, and I would say they were probably more likely perturbed and very annoyed, probably highly annoyed. Traumatized, now you're getting into the language that doesn't make any sense for this type of scenario. When you hear that noise, it's like, oh, are they back? Is there a road convoy coming? Right? Said Sean Flynn, who lives about 3 kilometers from downtown, but could still hear the horns inside his home during the protests. Oh no, poor guy. I felt I was constantly doing these sort of double takes. It almost feels a bit re-traumatized. Not to laugh at anybody's trauma or anything. I know this was a horrible, horrible traumatizing experience, and I know that he has to. I mean, it has to be so hard to live through this. It has to be so hard. Poor guy. Flynn isn't alone. Downtown resident Zakir Varani said he hears phantom honking too, usually at night, which keeps him awake. Oh no, there's no honking going on, but they're keeping him awake because of the phantom honking. No! Oh my God, I can't believe those Canadian truck drivers did that. They cleared him out though now. It's been quiet for at least over a week. Come on, guys. It's hard to explain because I think with any post-traumatic stress-induced thinking, it's not very rational. You're not actually hearing honking, he said, adding he experiences constant on-edgedness and fear anytime he steps outside since the protests. It's not good for anyone. I feel that way. All right, let's hear what the doctor has to say. Dr. Peter Liu, an Ottawa-based clinical psychologist, said it's possible people who hear phantom honking are experiencing a mild trauma. These sounds become sort of embedded in our mind, kind of like the way trauma leads to flashbacks. Said Liu, even long after this has happened, the brain is still hyper-vigilant state and expects more honking. Yeah, because you're getting very annoyed by it. And you're like, oh, God, is there still honking? There's still honking out there. It won't stop. I just wish it would stop. It is temporary, and it will always fade with time, Liu said, of the phantom honking. In the meantime, he recommended trying to sleep in a different location, even if it's just under a room, listening to music, putting a white noise before the bed. If the problem continues, he said, people shouldn't hesitate to reach out to a doctor or a mental health physician. Yeah, that's probably a good idea if the problem doesn't suffice. But if it does, then that means that it wasn't that big of a deal and you were very annoyed because you were kind of conditioned into believing that you were going to be hearing those horns for the rest of your life. When it was a protest, surely it's going to be annoying. Surely they were being annoying on purpose. Surely you understand that, right? But you're going to go out and talk to a journalist and say, I am traumatized? That is so offensive, saying that you're traumatized and you're becoming more traumatized. That is ridiculous. That is so ridiculous. He said it was mild. The doctor literally said it was mild. Here, honking is a mild trauma. Mild trauma to your earlobes. To your earlobes. Is it trauma to your brain? Is it that big of a trauma? Is it that bad? I'm not saying that honking a horn constantly won't be annoying and it won't hurt you, but is it traumatic? I don't know, man. I don't know if it's traumatic. Trauma? You're going to be thinking about this in 10 years? Oh, no, it's mild, so it always goes away, right? Does it? I don't understand exactly how this is being pushed out as a big deal, because I think that a lot of those truckers dealt with a lot more tough stuff, much more tough stuff than the honking that they were dealing with. Nobody got your bank account. You just had to deal with honking. At least they didn't get your bank account. At least they didn't smash your protest whenever you're trying to tell them. When you're trying to tell your leaders and you want to give them a message, they take away all your ability to send them that message. It's going to be interesting to see when American truckers head on into D.C. That, who knows? I want to see what's going to happen with that. Things are going to be looking up, guys. Things will be looking up. This is just another one of these stories that sometimes doesn't make any sense. But you know what? When we're thinking about the world and we think about people and we think about how ridiculous people are, it's not a surprise at all.